and all people in our city. You just bless us. We thank you and glorify you in Jesus' name. Amen. We're going to open up the Hare Public Works and the City Council meeting simultaneously. Item 2 is accept the minutes. Accept and approve the minutes of the 2/2 of 23 and 2/2 of 16 minutes. And I think we can do this. Bob?
I don't know how you have the 2/2 on there. We've already approved them.
Okay.
That's my fault.
That's fine. Well, I'll change that. It's okay. But anyway,
Yeah.
but on the minutes, the only thing that and it may have said this in the minutes, and I don't know if it really matters or not, but we actually on item C, Steve made a motion to proceed with striping the roads without mobilization per the agreement for TJ Campbell. That is actually Action Safety is who that actually is. I don't know if that makes any difference or not. I don't know if it said TJ Campbell or not. I think it's immaterial.
You correct the minutes now, the minutes correct.
That's what I was,
Action.
yeah, Action to correct the minutes. Action is the name. Action of,
Is the
Action
name of it-
Safety and Supplies is doing this. Yes, and I don't know if it was said, and it could have been very well said TJ Campbell.
Well, I just
I
went
don't
back and
believe I
looked it
said
up.
TJ Campbell Construction or any
Okay.
construction
Yeah,
company.
I
That's
just looked back at the,
And that's, so, do we have a motion now with them changes to,
I make a motion, we approve the minutes with the changes.
I'll second that.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Riddick,
Yes.
Funkowski,
Yes.
Lolly,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
motion carried.
I'm gonna pause right now for 1 minute and ask Marty to take center stage. And he's gonna swear in a new deputy, is that right?
Mr. Mayor, Council, appreciate the time. I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce our new officer. Her name is Officer Woolick, and I want you guys to be part of her official swearing in as a police officer in the city of Hara. Her family's with us today, so you guys get a chance and they're still here, make sure you go back and shake their hand and congratulate them on her new position. Officer Woolick, raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States,
to the Constitution of the United States,
to the state of Oklahoma,
to the state of Oklahoma,
and to the charter,
and to the charter,
statutes, and ordinances
statutes, and ordinances
of the city of Hara.
of the city of Hara.
I further solemnly swear
I further solemnly swear
that I will diligently discharge
that I will diligently discharge
all orders and directions of the chief of police
all orders and directions of the chief of police
and other supervisory officers
and other supervisory officers
appointed over me according to the rules,
appointed over me according to the rules,
regulations, and policies
regulations, and policies
of the Hara Police Department.
of the Hara Police Department.
I further solemnly swear
I further solemnly swear
that I will serve honestly
that I will serve honestly
and faithfully
and faithfully
in the performance of my duties as a police officer,
in the performance of my duties as a police officer,
and will accept my commission
and will accept my commission
as a symbol of authority
as a symbol of authority
and a mark of service
and a mark of service
to the people of this community.
to the people of this community.
Congratulations, Officer Woolick. Ladies and gentlemen, new officer, Officer Woolick.
Step.
I'm gonna try not. That'll make them easier. Congratulations. As we continue on, I'm going to skip item A, and we're going to drop down to item B, discussion possible action to allow the park board to enter into an updated contract with the Mountain Smoke for $3,000 at Concert Park on April 22nd, 2023. Everybody has up-to-date contract in front of them. The contract that was provided first of all stated that it would have certain size stage and different things like that, and we didn't meet those requirements. So they just came back and stated that the state provided and different things like that. So as far as looking at that, and I did ask Bob to read over it, and he did, and everything looks to be in order. So we have a motion to approve that.
It's just, the total is just 2,000?
That's, yeah, that's the top, well, there'll be other fees, that's who we're paying Mountain Folk, there'll be other fees for Porta Johns and things like that, but that's coming out of their, that's, all this is in their budget. Right. Okay.
I'll make a motion we approve the, contract with Mountain Smoke.
Second.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Lally,
Yes.
Binkowski,
Yes.
Rudick,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
motion carried.
Discussion possible action on the new concessionaire for the Heritage Park concession stand. Darren and Kim are here with Mr. Tony's, snow cones or shaved ice. And, anyway, I met with them here last week, and, we walked through the pavilion down there and walked through the kitchen and all. And, I hate to say that after I walked through it, I was disappointed, not in the people that I met with, but in the condition that our pavilion was in, and the condition that the windows and the countertop and different things in there, I was disappointed. And I'm recommending to the council, by all means, we accept your offer with a couple of stipulations that I think that might be better, and I'll get their input as well as we're here, because a couple other council members have met me down there as well. What I would recommend is really, you've offered $300 per month and then pay $100 to the utilities. What I'd recommend is really not charging anything if you wanna go down there and take care of cleaning everything up and operating that business as you would think necessary. I'm still gonna get with the city and the manager and different people, and make sure that we can change the countertops in some time, get some nice countertops down there, because they're coming apart. And then just get y'all to operate the overhead doors and things. But what I'd recommend is that we don't actually charge maybe $1 a month or something, to just say that we're into the lease agreement, and then y'all take care of all your own utilities down there and put it in your name. That's what I'd recommend.
Would that be forever?
As long as they want to do it, I'd say.
It's a 1 year.
It's a, yeah, yeah,
It's a one-year
that,
agreement.
the old
So-
agreement is, that's
It's a
right.
1-year agreement, and, no, you're just saying just because of the condition it's in, that's worthwhile, and I'm not disagreeing with that at all. However, it would require some substantial cleanup, inside that, so.
And then, and they're in the restaurant business in a way, and so they understand the ins and outs, and they understand the contacts of people that they could do that. And other than, one thing that we probably need to have done is we need to have all of our hood and all of the Ansel system and all of the fire suppressant stuff looked at. I think it expires in April of '22 was the last time it was updated and inspected. We probably need to go ahead and have that done and give them a full bill on that part, on the fire.
Sure, yeah, that would.
You know, that's just normal maintenance, is what
Right.
that is. That,
Right.
and a lot of the stuff, like changing the countertops down there and stuff, would be normal maintenance, is really just come out of our capital improvements or whatever we need to take that out of, get some estimates on changing those and schedule a time. And I think I visited with Steve about it, is we probably need to order 3 new windows down there that actually operate and have 3 windows, still leave the overhead doors, but actually order the ones that fit the hole.
Fit the hole.
You know, and set up, get a new countertop in first, and then measure the windows, you know.
And that would be countertops on each, I mean, that would be sills on each of the window sills too.
Still, I mean, and I think Darren and Kim would work with us on that time frame, kind of use what they got until we do, and then, you know, on one of their days off or something, that we come in and meet somebody down there to kind of change it, update it, and then you may be without a sliding window, in my opinion, for a while, as we're ordering the other windows, but, you know, right now, if we do it here soon, it's not 95 degrees outside, and you're trying to cool the place, and I think each one of those need a window that you can open up all the doors and have all the windows that people look like you're open, you know? And the doors will still leave there, because then you can shut them down at night for safety and, you know, just to protect.
The
yourself.
inside window door.
The inside window door, yeah, the metal door. We're rolling, that's
Metal.
what I was talking about.
Metal comes down, yeah.
So, do y'all have anything y'all would like to add?
And I'm just assuming that the utilities are gonna be on the pavilion alone, right? Is the pavilion separated from everything else, is utility wise?
Yes, there's a meter and a, electric meter and a gas meter down there just for that, so. Yes. So, but that's what I'm, you know, and if I've said something that you don't like or whatever, you jump in, I mean, but I've taken, since I met y'all down there, I've taken 2 other council members down there at different times and visited with them because I was disappointed in the upkeep, and, you know, the city needs to do a better job with our maintenance of some of this stuff, and, you know, shorthanded and help and everything else, I'll back the city on that behalf, but on the second behalf is, it is our park, and we do need to, really, when you walk in there, the floors need to be swept, the windows need to be cleaned, I mean, it needs some work, it needs some very well kept up, and I think Steve and Tim both will agree with me on that. Anything y'all would like to add?
I was wanting to ask a question on, given they did make a proposal, for $100 per month towards the utilities, and this is for 1 year, and if it were to go as you stipulated here, that's $300 a month, even though you're not gonna be open for maybe 6 months, you'd still pay that $300 per month. And then the $100 towards the utilities. And the reason I'm asking this question is, can somebody tell me what the utilities are at that facility with nobody in it, unoccupied? Can anybody ever get that and say, okay, because there's that, the question came up before, I guess there's some outside plugs? Is that correct, that people could plug into?
There could be, that they could plug in their phone charger or
Yeah, and
something,
then-
but I mean, there's 3 of them, thank you, Paul.
But the utilities would be minuscule, right? So if we looked at it,
There's gas.
yeah, the gas.
There'll be
is-
some.
Yeah, the gas,
Yeah.
that's what I was wondering, just how minuscule that charge is.
Now, the water, I don't think we charge up there, the water is a given, so
Yeah.
that's just part of it, so the water, you don't get a water bill. And trash as well.
And then,
That's
The
my
tra-
understanding.
The trash and water would be taken care of up there.
and then in here,
We
it's,
have Randy's question if we need to.
So I can get it. Yeah, we'll get it.
it says you'd be open 5 days a week. Which 5 days? In the summer. Because in the summer, the splash pad's open all the time. And so on some days, the customers may not get anything. I mean, people may not get anything if you're not open.
So the proposal's just a minimal proposal. You know, the plan is to be open 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
I don't wanna sit here and sell 7 days a week to you on a piece of paper because, you know, I don't have the employees lined up for it yet.
Yeah.
But the goal is to run it 7 days a week. Once we open the window, we're there 7 days a week.
Yeah, and I get that, especially during the summer with splash pad being open, more people in the park. But then when I saw only 5, I was like, so which 2 days are people not gonna be able to buy something? I think you would wanna be open if there's people in the park and it's warm out.
Exactly, and we do. Like I say, the plan is 7 days a week. That's just a minimal day that we wanted to put on there.
Right,
Look, 5 days a week right now is more than what's been down there in the last several years.
I agree.
So, I mean, I'm just throwing out there something minimal. I just wanted to get a proposal in front of you. I did this last year. We thought long and hard about it again this year when was asked about it. Didn't change a whole lot on it, but, you know, we're just throwing out the minimal days. But yes, the plan is to be open Monday through Sunday. Now then, I will tell you that proposal is not a year proposal, not, because I don't wanna sit and pay $400 a month.
That's what I was getting at, is it full year?
No,
or it's just-
and I stated in there as a seasonal or 6 months.
But if we wind up and leased it to you for $1 a month and let you take care of the maintenance more or less of it, then the utilities, you wouldn't take them in and out of your name, you'd just leave them there in your name, and, you know, you wouldn't do that, and that's.
You know, so, yeah, I mean, if it's that, then I appreciate the offer. We love the offer, and, you know, we'll take care of the utilities.
And that would give you even more time if you sit here and said April through September, if you had some good October or November days that you thought you needed to be up there, then you could have that option to do that as well.
And it's just like we talked when we met, Danny, we, you know, we wanna be there for the park, we wanna be there for the city.
Sure.
That's what we wanna do, that is our goal, and it's being there 7 days a week. And even, we're talking about it being seasonal, if it's October the 31st and it's 80 degrees outside and the park's full of people, we will be there. We will be there for the Christmas light, the tree light.
Right.
Any event that goes on, our plan is to be there, unless it's snowing.
Sure. Yeah, there's not much.
And I just bring some flavor with me and eat that. When I rent a house to somebody, I don't anymore. But when I rent a house to somebody and I give them money off of their rent because they're doing something for me, and, you know, as in they're going to fix this, or they're going to build this, or do something in the house. No, they're gonna carpet this little piece of the floor there, they're gonna do something. If we do this, what are they doing?
They're gonna go in, and they're kind of taking it as is, and they're gonna go in and clean it and do that kind of stuff. Other than, I feel like we need to go in, the countertops are,
Yeah, but we're gonna do that.
yeah,
We're gonna do the countertop piece. We're gonna do the window piece. But what's inside, what I saw, is it gonna be returned to us better than it is right now?
At least clean.
I would think so. I
Better
think-
than it is.
You're more than
right now.
welcome to step in any of our trailers anytime you like.
But I've stepped in that pavilion. And that's why I'm asking that question, so it's gonna, you know, that's a lot of work. But this is a lot of money, you know, over the 6-month period.
You know, I will tell you, yes, that if we ever step out of it, I promise you, it's not gonna be what it looks like today. We will not be left in shambles. We'll walk out of it ready for you to put somebody else in it.
Okay.
So we're talking about cleaning up. Okay. We're talking about, are they responsible for cleaning the vents, or is that?
No, we'll
take care of that?
we'll do the first initial cleaning on the hood vents. We need to do that because we don't know.
But the greasy old stove and the
But the
fryer
greasy
and
old
stuff
stove
like
and stuff
that,
is-
and the
is
greasy
theirs.
ovens and the refrigerators
Yeah,
that,
all that's theirs to clean.
that I wouldn't eat at this place.
But the reason we need to clean the hood, to make sure it's safe and secure, in, you know, if they ever go to frying in there, not, and they're, I don't think they're planning on doing any frying in there, but I believe they're gonna clean it.
Who's gonna be responsible? We talked about painting the place, 'cause it looks pretty bad.
I haven't talked about that. And a lot of those, that FRP will wash down very well. The ceiling probably needs a little bit of updating and cleaning and things like that, and I mean, I'd leave that back to them, that's what I'd do. Galvan paint would do a lot, I mean, seriously, in that, because it's just the ceiling and about around top of the walls.
Well, that's the kind of stuff that I'm getting at. When you gotta clean up a rusty old stove, a greasy old stove and a refrigerator and stuff like, the stoves work. I mean, they're nice as far as they're huge, they're big, they can work, but they're nasty looking at this point. So the cleaning of those is not an easy job. So I could trade $300, $400, $500, $600 out for that in a heartbeat, for doing that. But then painting, is that gonna be city responsibility along with counters, or is that gonna be, would he be willing to paint it, she be willing to paint in there? I don't know the answer on that piece, but it just depends on what they want it to look like. Well, I guess we can go in there and whitewash the place or something. But, it's the equipment in there that I'm mostly talking about that needs to be cleaned up or taken out.
And Darren's in a position where he works, I mean, he's got a lot of contacts on this, because the company he works for does food service, and they have 3 full-blown kitchens in there? Yeah, so they got.
Yeah, but here's my point. I want, there's a benefit to them, but I want a benefit to us, because we would charge somebody else.
I think what the mayor proposed, if they accept this as is, instead of the city going in and cleaning everything up before they take possession, then you're trading off rent for them assuming some of that responsibility. Of getting it clean and keeping it clean.
Yeah, I get that, but it's, okay. But, you know, it's 300 a month for 6 months, right? That's what you're saying. 300 a month for 6 months, so it's 300 a month for cleaning.
$1,800.
Right. For cleaning. It's short contract. It probably, it might cost you that much to clean that place.
It takes some elbow grease, it takes some time, it's not, you know, but I'm also wanting to do a 1-year lease also. That way, you know, if they wanna do that or whatever, and then at the end of the year, I mean, once again once we agree to this, whatever start date or whatever, if it's in April or May or whatever day you're looking to open and we agree to everything, you know, at the next point, we'd look at the lease again and see where we're at and go from there, you know? Because he may do it for a year and say, hey, it's not as profitable as I thought, or maybe it's more profitable than we thought, I don't know, I mean, you just never know.
Again, I would be looking for what the benefit is to the city, so it needs to look like you just said, that it would be ready for somebody else to step into when he walks away from it, okay? Step into it and use it, and I'm good with that for a year, if that would be it, but the next year, I will not be good with that.
We'll renegotiate the next year, is what
Yeah,
we'll do
I
at
would
that
not be
time.
good with that, because, you know, that was one piece of it, but then I guess he would leave it messy after that. But, you know, I would be looking for, we get a benefit, he gets a benefit, she gets a benefit, and then after a year, renegotiate. And the first year is easy, because he only wants to open for 6 months, and if you're gonna say $1 a month for 12 months, that's easy. It's the next year that might be harder, but he'd know then whether he wants to open 8 months out of the year or 5 months.
You gotta look too, April's just less
Completely,
than 30 days away.
yeah, completely
So he's
renegotiate.
going in there and wants to build a grease real fast.
Yeah.
So,
Any other comments? Does anyone want to make a motion?
What would the motion be then?
I'd say the motion would be that we, lease Mr. Tony's shaved ice for 1 year at $1 a month in an as-is condition, and they go in and clean, you know, what they need to, and they know what they need to do to clean it. And we will, in time, fix a few other things, and once we get a contract, he'd have to read it and make sure he accepts our contract, you know, because, you know, we could write a contract that he don't accept, so he's gonna have to look at the contract prior to as well.
In that contract would be what we're gonna do to the pavilion,
Yes,
and what he's gonna do to the insides of the roof.
yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, we can have Bob write us a contract. We have one, so we enter to, have him go ahead and just tweak it with their names and different things on it, and add a few stipulations in there on both behalves. We could probably get that in the next week or so. Get it in the next week?
Yes.
Email it to them, let them read it, email it to the council members, let us read it, and then come back on the 23rd and approve it, you know, and if he looks like he's gonna take charge of it, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem giving the keys to the building, letting him get started working down there. So we want to just table that till the next meeting, after we review the contract?
Well, can you make a motion to approve it without the contract?
Yeah.
You can make a motion to approve it on those terms, subject to a contract being developed.
Okay.
Well, after seeing the place,
Mm-hmm.
I agree that something needs to be done. I was pretty embarrassed.
I was.
I've never went inside the really in the back part.
I haven't either,
It
so.
was embarrassing.
Mhm.
The whole thing was. And, I would make that motion.
Are you okay with everything we're talking about so far? I mean, does that sound, I mean, because you're ultimately gotta approve it, I mean, you know, are you okay with it?
You know, I mean, cleaning for it, yes, I mean, we'll clean it the best the best that we can.
Right.
We cannot make that stove look like a brand new stove. That, if
No,
you're
no.
expecting me to walk out there and it be shining like it's on the showroom floor, it's not gonna happen.
I'm gonna walk up there and touch it, I'm not gonna get grease on my hands either.
You can walk by it and not get grease on your hands.
I'd at least wire brush the rust off.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
I'd at least wire brush the rust off. I don't want it in
I'll make
there.
that motion,
Okay.
Mr. East spelled out.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Rudick,
Yes.
Stankowski,
Yes.
Lolly,
Yes.
Gazzo,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Hopefully this works out. Item D, is discussion and possible action to amend the plat for Fall Creek, block 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, and block 3, phase 4. Guy?
This item was presented to the planning commission on Monday and was approved. The title company, First American, was handling a closing on a piece of property there and discovered that an existing home, and all 5 lots have homes on them currently, that was an existing home, lot 18, extended over the west property line by about 2.5 feet, and also over a 5-foot OGA easement. In order to reset the property line, every property line had to be moved, and all a total of 6 lot lines had to be adjusted. The title company requested that this be accomplished through an amended final plat. And the OG&E easement doesn't contain any facilities, and it will be vacated with a consent from OG&E, and a new easement conveyed through a ratification document as part of the closing on the home on lot 18. So, planning commission recommended approval of the amended final plat.
So just for, everything got slanted, is that what this indicates? They just moved the line over, so lot 16 gets a little more, couple more inches on their property. Everybody else in the middle, 17, 18, and 19, and 20, they, well, 20 loses a little bit. 16 gains a little bit, 20 loses a little, but it's,
They're all supposed to have to meet their.
and they've all agreed.
Yeah, the plat that you see in your agenda is not the final
That's
plat
not the final one.
that will be signed. It's sitting in the conference room. It has all the signatures from all the property owners.
All right.
And so on the same thing, Jeff brought up the fences that are pre-existing right now. And so we got a lot line that everybody thought this is their property line at the time, and I got a fence sitting on that property line. Now we come back and we're gonna move it 2.5 foot, you know, and this person moves his fence over, says, oh, I'm gaining 2.5 foot. This person, now we're gonna do another squabble. I understand everybody signed it, but you gotta look at this 5-10 years down the road, because if I'm not mistaken, now, you know, we go by all meets and bounds is what we go by. As far as surveys, and we don't go by,
Well, the meets and, this would be a platted subdivision.
yes, it's a
So
plat,
we would-
but still in the platted subdivision, it's done by, by pin surveys.
By pin.
Okay, by pin surveys. And on those pin surveys is, I move in there and I find out my fence is 2.5 feet closer on my property, and I wanna go move it, so I'm moving my fence, and my neighbor jumps up and down, and, cause he's another neighbor that didn't know nothing about any of this, and he bought the house thinking that's my property. So, I would honestly think that whose responsibility is it to move the fences?
I think it's gonna be the individual property owners when if they choose to wanna move the fence.
Serious business,
I'm sorry?
serious business. We're gonna make a change to a plat, and the property owner's gotta be the one to move the fence.
It'll be the property owner, the developer.
Well, it's gonna, I'm with you on the developer part, but it
But
wasn't,
that's,
it
that's
wasn't,
between them, that's not
it
with
wasn't,
us.
yeah, okay, but it wasn't the property owner's
Well,
fault.
they're curing problems for developer and property owners, it sounds like. Individual property owners now have a problem, and this changes are gonna fix those problems.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I'm the land surveyor.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, guy.
Glad to finally meet you.
What's your name?
Craig Outland.
Okay,
The fence lines were used in determining the new boundaries
okay.
for the plat, so there's no moving fences.
So the fences are on the property line now?
Yes, they are. That's why the property owners all agreed. They bought the properties, contained within the fence lines. Now, the houses were built at a skew, but fortunately, the fences were built at the same space.
Okay.
So when we surveyed it based on the fence line and the occupation of the houses. So the amended plat shows that. There's no someone moving in and having to.
They sit here and their prop fence lines one or another?
Yes,
and they
yes,
do
if this is approved, that's the goal.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Okay, well, that's what I didn't, I thought.
You-
Fences are on the line, the
Yeah.
new line.
Yeah, you know, amazing, it worked out. I think when they built it at a skew, they built the fences at a skew also. So it worked out, so the amended plat shows that.
Okay.
Okay?
So the amended
so-
plat is correct, and it
Yes.
matches up with the fence line.
Yes, I go out there, measure, it fits perfectly, we surveyed all of that, it just seems like the front lots were the ones until they realized, oh, we gotta straighten these other houses up, so all the other houses work, but those fence lines on their amended plat are
Okay.
shown.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, that simplifies it, I feel like.
Yep.
I mean, problem solved. Thank you. Any other questions? Do we have a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the amended plat for Fall Creek. Second.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Wally,
Yes.
Funkowski,
Yes.
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
motion carried.
Item F is, discussion, possible action to approve the citywide yard sale to be,
Go back to
oh, no, I didn't mean to skip that, I'm sorry, got it. I wanted you to stand there while we talked about something. Discussion, possible action, recommending the planning commission for an appeal on building construction and appearance standards, and, I'll let Guy go ahead and go on that.
Again, this item was heard by the planning commission on Monday night and recommended approval. The applicant is KO Storage, and they're proposing to expand their storage facility. They bought two facilities in Harrah, one on Harrah Road and this one on 23rd Street, and they have some unused land, and so they're gonna add some additional buildings on the unused land. And so, the recently updated building construction and appearance standards are triggered here because it's a new building in a commercially zoned piece of property. And so, what the applicant is requesting is basically to be allowed to use a traditional metal building for the storage units for all the buildings except the building D, which is the building that will be closest to Northeast 23rd Street. And on that building, they would do a combination of hardy board and brick, and also have some offsets on the building that would be in compliance with the construction standards. And so the building, again, the building facing 23rd, closest to 23rd Street would receive the upgrade. The balance of the buildings would be a regular storage facility type of construction and be compatible and consistent with the other buildings that are on that site.
So the building, the back of the building on D1 that you're showing us, that's actually gonna face, the back of it's gonna face 23rd Street, is what that's gonna do.
Yeah.
So when you're driving by, you're really not gonna see all the overhead doors on the storage buildings or anything. You're gonna see the back of that building
That's perfect.
right there that you're showing us.
Yeah, I like yours, it's in color somewhere. So the dark areas are brick,
Yes, sir.
and the light areas are this hardy board, you said?
Yes, sir.
And the end caps will be, Each end has to be either the brick or the hardy board, has to,
He's showing siding, it looks like right underneath it, don't it?
no, I don't see,
Matt,
I can't
I
read
can't
it.
read it, I can't read it.
what would you say, Matt, on that?
Yeah, so the ends will be hardy.
That's what, yeah, that's what it looks like on the side, right under the elevation, it looks like that.
And what is hardy board?
It's a siding that's, made out of, OSB material, is what a hardy is. You know, I mean, or a smart, you know, I mean.
Yep, so-
The hardy actually can be a concrete board as well.
This is Matt, I can't ever pronounce his last name, but he's with, he's with KO Storage, came down from Minnesota to be here this evening, that's right.
A little snow doesn't scare me. But, so hardy is basically a cementitious, it's a brand name, it's a wood look siding, which is what we're proposing, so the siding that will be on this building could be of LP, Smart Side is another name brand, but it'll be something that conforms with the design standards of the city code. So we haven't priced out anything specifically, but it will be a wood look lap siding, to meet the design standards of the city.
So basically, viewing from 23rd Street, you won't be seeing any of the, you would see other building materials that just the siding.
You just really see the back of the building. If
Just
it's,
the back of it.
if it's pulling out a Sonic more or less,
Right.
Yep.
you're gonna look right there across the street is what you're gonna see, and that's gonna just be
If
the
you
back of
look
the building.
between the buildings, you can see those other ones.
Right. Yeah.
Which you see now, but this would, I assume, look nicer, because I really don't know what the brick's gonna look like. I don't know what this hardy board is gonna look like.
Well, Hardy's, they'll paint it. It's a-
Okay,
They'll paint it.
they'll
So,
paint
yeah,
it,
they'll
and
paint
it'll look really nice.
Yeah.
It'll look,
Because when I look at the bank, it's got the uneven stuff. Yeah, if it's gonna look like that, I'm good.
At the storage building right there. They're just
And
in
it'll
that
be this
basement.
charcoal.
I'll take it.
charcoal color, the hardy board.
We're gonna paint the hardy board to match the existing steel siding that's there, which is like a very warm white material. And then the brick is gonna be red brick, which should match the, I think it's, I can't remember if it's a chiropractor or dentist office that's next door. But there's like a kind of a traditional red brick look kind of all throughout the city, so something simple, is what we're gonna be proposing for the two bricks.
Eastview is not red brick at all.
What's that?
The Eastview is not red brick at all.
Is that the dentist?
That's, yeah, that's not red brick, is it? That red brick in there? No, that's not red brick. I just checked.
It's a wood built brick is what it is. They don't make it no more, so you need to match it, so it don't matter.
Similar color.
It's similar.
Similar color.
I guess red brick would be probably a little more traditional.
Probably.
Downtown setting, so, but that'll be the color we're going for.
And the existing buildings are not touched because they're existing.
Right.
Those buildings that are out there on the side will stay.
But you still won't really see those once this new building is up, except through the gate. And then you have the office house there or whatever it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I would expect you'll probably say that the other building, we've been working on another building permit application for the buildings on Hera Road. Most of those buildings, if not all those buildings, are on the far, what would be the far east end of the property and wouldn't be visible, so you make it something here for just a regular lettuce building, what we have out there on site.
I was looking more for one of those nice design looks that you can see that, you know, that they draw and they put people in and they have the building, and you can see what it looks like. Here I can't. All I see is, that you're gonna put some brick here, you're gonna put this here. I don't really see. And I know it conforms with the city standards, but I really don't know what it's gonna look like. Where in those other ones we show, or somebody does, they actually have somebody draw it out, like when they did the plans for down at Sweeney Switch. When they did our park, no, yeah, okay, maybe the park. When they do those things, you know, you kind of get an idea what it is. This is like pen and pencil stuff here, so.
If you build it every day, you understand them.
I just think it's just a storage.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any, yeah.
No, but it's got to look like the bank and like the taco place and like
It is.
those
It's
other
gonna have,
ones. It's gotta look like those.
it's gonna have some dimension on it. It's not gonna be just straight across. It's
Right.
gonna be-
So our biggest intention in constructing these is to not introduce something new to the sightline of 23rd Street. We really want to maintain some of the aesthetics that are on that drive. So,
Okay, you get me off on something else, 23rd Street. As I drive down 23rd Street, I wanna keep it the same, or I wanna introduce something new. Thank you for, I appreciate it, but I would be wanting to introduce something that looks new and good in the city instead of some of the stuff that doesn't look so good.
Well, and I believe they have a lot out front that eventually would be sold that maybe as a commercial for a strip center or something eventually, or whatever.
yeah, it kind of goes above my pay grade,
Right.
unfortunately.
But there is some vacant land still out front of it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what makes this stay.
I am sure it'll look very nice.
Do we have a motion? To approve the building repairs.
I'll make the motion to approve the building repair.
I'll second it.
Lolly,
Yes.
Rudick,
Yes.
Stankowski,
Yes.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes,
motion carried.
thank you.
Thank you, guys, I appreciate it.
Item F, discussion and possible action to approve citywide yard sale to be the weekend before the first Monday in May every year. So what we're looking at on the garage sale, every year we come in and we approve what day we're gonna have a garage sale or whatever. This would just simplify it from now on. And so whatever the first Monday is in May, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that weekend before would be the garage sale.
So this year it's 27, 28, 29, 30, and we'll sign up the first through the 25th.
Because the first is on a Monday, is that right?
Yes.
So even though it's the first Monday of May that we're having it before, we're still having it in April, the garage sale.
Right. We'll stop on the 25th to allow us to get the sheets out for them to pick up.
And this is just something that we won't have to come back and do anymore, it'll be something that's just done, and something that's, just simplifies it, and it's 4 days at the citywide garage sale. And this is, the citywide garage sale, I mean, you can come up here and sign up if you want, or you don't even have to, am I
Right,
correct
now
about
we
that?
have Julie, we're gonna take phone calls
Okay.
and addresses. Always before we had them come in, because we didn't really have anybody to,
But even if somebody just wanted to have one, we didn't, they could have.
they could.
Yeah. This way, whenever they can get a sheet that says, this is all the garage sales in Harris, so. But otherwise,
This is the last weekend in April.
this year will be.
Right.
We have a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the citywide yard sale for the weekend before the first Monday in May every year.
Second it.
Stankowski? Yes. Rudick?
Yes.
Lolly?
Yes.
Scalzo?
Yes.
Trent?
Yes.
Motion carried.
We're gonna jump over to, item 3A on the Harris Public Works side, and that's discussion and action to approve PO 12-23035 to Worth Hydrochim, am I saying that correct?
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen, okay. You got anything to tell us about that? I mean, it looks like it's something that was a budgeted item,
Yes,
is that correct?
yes. Our, Myarch units, which make our chlorine,
Yes.
they're getting outdated, they're no longer making parts for them. So we need to start replacing them, so I'm gonna try to replace one a year until all 4 of them are replaced.
And
So it's a chlorine making machine.
Yes.
that's what gives that good taste in our hair and water.
Where's it located?
This will be located at our maintenance barn.
And this was a budgeted item, so.
So we transport it? Once you make the chlorine, you transport it?
No, it makes it right there on the spot for that well only.
Okay, for that well.
For that
that's
well
how you're
only.
making it. Okay.
Right.
Right now, we have 4 wells that we're using.
Yeah, we actually have 6, but we have 4 with older units that are 23, 24 years old. So we're not be able to get, they've got parts for them, but as soon as their inventory's gone, that's it. So we don't know when they're gonna break down. So I wanna replace one, I'm gonna take them parts, set them off to the side to repair all the others as they break down.
And then next year, you're gonna do that, and
Then I'm gonna do another one,
in the next 6 years, we'll have all the,
hopefully.
So it makes the chlorine and puts it in the
injects it in our
Yeah.
water.
In the water.
Okay. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the PO 12-23-035 to work Piper County.
I'll second it.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Rudick,
Yes.
Pinkowski,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
motion carried.
Items B and C, I'm gonna open simultaneously, a drawdown to authorize payment. This is for our loan that we have. What it is, Downey is actually asking for a $7,030 draw. And then the second one is, he's asking for the balance of it of $53,315. That was the retainage that we hold back. So $7,000 was left to finish the job, the $53,000 was left as a holdback, and he has finished his job and is complete. And now he's asking that we pay him everything on those two pay requests.
Complete, inspected, everything's fine.
Completed and inspected, everything's fine on Downey.
Okay.
I'll make the motion, we approve drawdown number 70 and 71.
Second?
Rudick,
Yes.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Pinkowski,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
motion carried.
Discussion possible action to approve drawdown number 72, and that is for Bill Myers. He's looking for a drawdown of $13,452, which is broke down in different areas. $1,549 is for the sanitary sewer, his engineering. $6,862 is for the water system. This is all along 29th Street, on Luther Road. And then the other is $5,040 for this construction staking. He is coming in about 97% complete on all of the engineering, 99% on the sewer, 97% on the water, and 92% on the staking. He's asking for a $13,452.
Staking doesn't have anything to do with that staking we talked about a couple meetings ago, right?
No, well, yes, he did stake something, he should have, yes, it does, but this is the overall job site itself, where he staked the whole length of the job and said where everything went, yes, that's part of that. And inspections, that's also inspection, not just staking, it's inspections too. So he inspected the work, he had a engineer out here, Michael Ludi was out here inspecting all of it, and that's part of his cost in that, as well as his inspection fees.
But this 13 grand is not tied to that 4 or 5 grand we were.
No, not tied to, no, it's not tied. This is strictly on, if you go back to his draws, you can see how much he's drawing.
Right,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, no, it has nothing to do with that $4,000 that was not paid.
Okay. Make a motion, we approve drawdown number 72 and the prepayment.
I'll second that.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Rudick,
Yes.
Pinkowski,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes. Item E is discussion possible action on request of assistance of SRH on sewer line. I'll let Guy introduce this again. This is the one where Brahms is wanting us to run the line across the street and want $25,000. And that's where I talked about a sales tax incentive.
Right. It is like,
Harley here.
as I pre-read it, it seems like something might have changed.
Well, I think,
Something's changed.
this is the contractor wanting the $25,000 is what I'm taking it as.
Yeah, what we've been able to ascertain, and I've had unsuccessful attempts to communicate with the applicant here for the last week or so. So, SRH was actually the contractor that built the Dollar Tree store. And the Dollar Tree store, I believe, there was an issue with an existing private sewer line that served Brahms and was actually under the Dollar Tree store. And so, there was an agreement reached between SRH and Brahms that, SRH would install the public sewer for Brahms, extend the public sewer for Brahms, at whatever time that Brahms was gonna expand or, put a new building in. So, it's a little different than what I understood it to be, that they are not working directly for Brahms.
Right.
This was part of a contractual agreement between Brahms and SRH associated with Dollar Tree.
So when it says agreed to extend the Brahms sewer line as part of the sewer line situation under the new Dollar Tree, it isn't extending the existing Brahms sewer line, right? It's the Dollar Tree one?
Well,
No, it's capping off the Dollar Tree.
Capping that
Capping it,
one off.
it's killing it.
That's
When
the one that went under those buildings.
Right, when they build the new Brahms. Right now, there's no sewer to the new Brahms, when they build it. The sewer line with the Brahms existing right now runs back to the southeast of there, under the
Right.
Dollar Tree,
to a lagoons.
to Lagoons.
Right.
And then when Dollar Tree, really after they was completing, they found there was an easement there that Brahms had for a sewer line. And that's where all this became into the mess it's in right now. But supposedly SRH has agreed to run a sewer line across the street to the new Brahms when they build it. And so,
And I think it ended up being, it was more expensive than what they had originally budgeted for the project. So, you know, as far as the sales tax, I've been unsuccessful getting any information from them, from which to, try to build some type of, an agreement, reimbursement agreement, so.
But right now, it is still going under the street there at the corner.
yes.
It
That,
will,
just like we talked last time, that's the specifics of that high dollar amount that they want 25 grand on.
That's correct.
Okay.
And how, and going up that property, are they, I don't know what the frontage of that property is on, 29th Street, it's probably about 1,000 feet. Isn't it?
Yeah, they're not going all the way across the property.
No,
They're going in, I think they're trying to get across, one of their driveways. So that in the event that the line was ever extended, they
They
would be
still have
tearing the driveway. So at this point, I'd recommend no
Just
action.
no action, that's what I was gonna
because
say.
We just don't have anything to,
And he didn't, you know, so we can put it on the 23rd if he contacts you back, and other than that, we'll just take no action. Okay? Let's do that, thank you. I think that finishes all the items with the exception of item A on the. Where did I
About
say?
F, read.
Oh my gosh, I keep missing it. No, I'm dropped down a line, trying to rush it a little bit tonight. Trying to get out, it's not making it, are we? Discussion, possible action to
I'm good, I
approve
read dinner already.
contract of a REAP grant through ACOG for the bar screen. We got that grant, and we just need to approve the bar screen as a $150,000 grant, and that's for our treatment plant.
Okay.
Have a motion to.
Oh, wait.
Yes, yes.
You always get told, you know, did you read the contract? Yes, I did. So this is a one-year contract. It has to be done within 1 year. Is that correct? And
How long did they put the bar screen in and all that? It's not and what's your timeframe? Let's go that direction first.
I don't know if the engineer submitted everything to the DEQ, but as soon as they get it, I wouldn't think it'd take 2 or 3 months, once we award the contract to somebody.
do we know who we're awarding it to, or do we?
Well,
Yeah.
it'd be let for bid since it's over 150,000.
Yeah.
So once we agree to this, then we can go ahead and have our engineer proceed forward with letting the bids.
Okay.
Am I saying that right?
You're right.
Yeah.
Then ACOG will give us the notice to proceed
Yes.
on the project.
That's all we're entering the contract is that they're gonna give us.
I just read where it says we can't do anything administrative with it, no planning expenses, no nothing, or it'll come out of this money, that's all out of city money.
Yes, that's us.
Yeah, so we keep records, presentations, Jerry's doing, all of that, that's just our normal operating expense. This is just for those of our streets.
Yes.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve the contract for REIT grant?
I'll make a motion, we approve the REIT contract.
We'll second that motion.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Riddick,
Yes.
Pankowski,
Yes.
Conley,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes. That's what I'm going now we're gonna jump back to item A. I've been trying to get there from the beginning, I guess. Discussion possible action to review and study dispersing the ARPA funds. And I'll let Jamie start off and we'll just kind of go from there.
So the department heads, along with City Hall, have prepared some requests for the disbursement of ARPA funds in their respective departments as well as City Hall. So what I'd like to do is just probably go with Jerry first. If you're prepared to talk a little bit about the requests, the ARPA fund requests. Everybody should have something in front of them that you can follow along.
The first one on here is a mapping system, so we can map all our water, valves, sewer lines, manholes, and, this will also help us with, stormwater. We had to do a DEQ requirement, it was supposed to have been 4 or 5 years ago, so we need that, and then the other two are, cameras for inspection sewer lines. So I don't have to send somebody down in there with all the gases and all that kind of stuff, so we can just drop cameras in and see what's going on. And then the other ones are just, basically barricades for safety reasons when we're having Hera Days, Christmas parades, all that kind of stuff.
And what are the costs on those items? Can you put?
Uh,
I can't find it.
$2.99 each on the barricade.
One says
12 of them.
Half of that one.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
$3,600.
That's just that one. There you go. That's all.
$6,000 for the software. Who runs the software?
we will. But basically, we go
You
out,
just absorb it in, or it's something you take out?
it's something we take
You're
out.
gonna map everything.
We map
and-
everything and then we bring it back, and then we'll have the software that we can load it down, and then it puts it on Google Maps or whatever.
Yeah,
And then it'll pinpoint where the valves are,
and you guys
manholes,
just maintain things over time.
Right.
As you get new stuff.
as we get new stuff, yeah, and then there's like, I think it's $400 a year to keep that software up and going.
Okay, so there's a yearly cost.
Yeah, there's a
with it
yearly cost.
As well.
So where you got these grants in here though, are we for sure we're gonna get those or is
Yeah,
that?
I mean, I talked to the guy that, he said that all we gotta do is apply, and
I mean, I know there's
it takes $5,000 off each one of those, or $6,500 off each one of those projects.
So the 11,300 would take 6,500 off of it, 11,000, is that
Well,
correct?
the 11,300 would be ours. It's
Still
actually
ours.
17,800.
Okay, that's 17,000, that's what I heard.
And that comes with the programming, that comes with,
Okay,
I can't think what it's called now.
So if you were gonna allot some, if you're gonna allot some ARPA funds to this, 11,300, you gotta be sure you're gonna get that other 6,500. You're saying that's a done deal?
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
so these two cameras, the jet camera is the one that goes down the sewer lines,
Yeah,
correct?
that hooks onto our jet rotor, and then we can run down, see if it's something that we can get through, we can't. This other one is for like sewer line inspections, we can just drop the camera in the manhole, and it shoots down if it's
And how far will these go, 300 foot?
probably 300-400 foot,
Okay,
as long as the lines aren't wavy.
Sure. Okay. So we need two different cameras for that, is that
Yes.
right?
Yeah, it's two different cameras.
Just kind of going-
What's number 9, shipping?
That's gonna be the shipping on the barricades and stuff. Cause my vendors that I have, I'll double check with some more, but they're no longer selling them.
And just,
Your total is less the grants? Have you already taken the grants out of this total?
I don't think I did.
Okay, so this total is before grants.
I'd have to double check it, but I think that's before grant, yes.
Okay,
just to kind of talk for a second about number 8, for example, when we had after-action reports after some of our city events, that is one of the action items that we identified was visibility of barriers. So like those flashing beacons on those barriers or something, that was a safety issue we identified. And it's something we intended to move forward with anyway because of feedback that we had following the events.
On that line, what, on the one by, the flashing lights by, Lumbershack,
Uh-huh.
get that one doesn't work.
I think it's because it's solar,
Oh, okay.
and I think it's because that light
Oh.
is up above it. Is why that one's not working.
Got a rock?
Yeah.
And Jerry, I don't want to put you on the spot because this is a different thing really quick, but I'm going to ask you if you remember ballparks, because I know we have an old quote for front doors here, the electronic, and then generators, I know you're working at a.
Yeah, looking, so far, my generator prices have been coming in between 61,000 and I think 74.
Okay.
I still got one more that's supposed to be in hopefully tomorrow.
Give a
but I'm not
ballpark
sure.
on those doors.
Last time on the doors, I think it was around a little over $7,000.
Okay,
How big a generator are you looking at? Is that, and that's where here at City Hall, is
Yes.
that right? How big is a generator?
Was that 350
KW?
KW, yeah, something to run that.
And it runs the whole building, is that
Yes,
correct?
it runs
Air
the whole building,
conditioners and
yeah.
all? Do we need one that big, really? I mean, that's big, that's what I'm saying. Do we need to, you know, if we're in a position, well, yeah, but my question is, do we need to run the whole building? I mean, if power's out, we're, you know, everybody's taking care of other things. I mean, do we really need to run the whole building, or do we need to just run mainly our computers and things like that, and a couple of, maybe an air conditioner? You know, do we need to heat and cool the whole building at that time? I mean, can we get by with a smaller generator and run half the building? You know, I mean, you know, a generator will run a lot of plugs and lights. You know, where you start getting into is when you start pulling these, I'm sure it's 3-phase is what's on this
Yeah.
building, so you got 3-phase, and that's jacking the cost up on that generator
Yeah.
alone, just being in the 3-phase. But I'm just wondering if we just ran, how many rooftops do we have, do you know?
I believe it's 5.
See, so what if we just ran 2? You know, I mean, I'm just asking some questions, but, I mean, do you save half the money at that point by cutting the size in half?
And just to clarify, so that I don't muddy this, I did ask him that question, but that is really not part of his request. That's gonna be part of my city hall request, just so that
Okay,
we're.
well, I'm just asking some questions,
Yeah.
because I'm just, you know, because if all the power's out all over town, in City Hall, I mean, how many people are gonna be coming up here at that time? I mean, we're probably gonna be running on a skeleton crew at that
Well,
time.
you just need emergency functions.
That's exactly, that's what I'm,
You
yeah,
don't need a whole functioning building.
exactly. Okay.
I don't need my hair.
You know, I know, we will disconnect your heater to begin
My
with.
air conditioner.
I'll bring you blankets, okay?
I mean, we have that generator at 29th lift station. If you just wanted to run lights, lights, I can have somebody look into that.
And we might, you know, lights and computers is really
Right.
gonna be the couple of things. I mean, you know, I understand if it's 100-degree day outside, I mean, it's gonna be hot,
Yeah.
but it's like Chris said, that we're looking at emergency time. If all the power's out, it's just to get by. You know, we're not looking to run the day-to-day operations, is what I think. Not at your house.
So I don't.
Run the whole thing.
I'm gonna, yeah, I want each one to kind of go over, Marty can go over his, and then Levi, and then when I'm in here, I'm just getting his. And we'll have it all done. Okay. Anything else you have, Jerry, that you'd
No.
like to add? Levi, you wanna go ahead and tell us what you're looking for, and
So, looking at needs in the fire department, you know, when we start talking about ISO, one of the things that ISO is going to start requiring of us as a city, because of our, 3-story buildings, our buildings require over 3,500 gallon a minute fire flow, is a ladder truck. Now turnkey, brand new ladder truck, you're looking at around $2 million plus. I think a good used ladder truck, something 5 or 6 years old, we could find a good one that would work, but it lasts the city probably another 10, 15, maybe 20 years. So the ladder truck is probably number one. Secondly, replacing a rescue unit that we currently have in service. The truck is just worn out. It's a first out truck. It pretty much makes every medical call that you guys see us running up and down the streets in. It's just worn out. It needs to be replaced. And what I'm looking at there is a smaller truck, an F-350, F-450 style truck with a rescue box on it. Still gonna carry all the equipment we need. It's just gonna be a lot easier for the guys in that smaller truck to get around town and make some of these areas they have to go to. Number 3, bunker gear. We're getting to the point where we need to start looking at replacing our bunker gear. That stuff only lasts for about 10 years and it has to be retired. We're getting to that point, I think 2017 was the last time we bought some, so we've got, 3 or 4 years left. We need to start looking at replacing that. And what I would like to do is do it on a cycle. Every 2 years buy 10 or 12 sets. That way it's not all due at once, so it kind of helps spread that cost out, so we're not spending $100,000 every 2 years. We can do it in chunks. Number 4, if you guys recall, we had a quote for a Cascade unit, my air compressor, and the initial quote that we got was, I forget, it was $72,000 or $74,000. This is from a different company. It's a different compressor, a little bit smaller, but it still meets all the needs, all the requirements. It's about $50,000, and that includes installation, training, and all that stuff for the $50 grand for that compressor. And just so you guys are aware, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's not just a standard air compressor, it's to fill our air tank, so it is a 6,000 PSI compressor.
This is breathable air?
Breathable air, yep, that's breathable air. Number 5, that Station 2 on 23rd was built in 1994, 95, somewhere through there. It's very outdated. I've got some ceiling tiles that are falling down. It needs some repairs, so I'm looking at maybe doing a renovation on the building. The quote that I got from Lane Construction, that's who I had come out, just give me a bid on it. It was $89,000 and some change to do that remodel on that building. Number 6, we can omit. We had a donation that met that need, so that washer dryer combo, we can take that out. We've got that fixed up and going. Just about going. 7, the LDH hose or 4-inch hose. What I've got now is 1-inch and has 5-inch hose on it, which is a very large diameter hose. It's hard to maneuver, hard to manage, and it's getting to the point of not passing hose test. It's starting to come apart. It's old donated hose from Dell City that I got years ago. 1-inch and has 3-inch hose on it, so I kind of thought, hey, let's shoot the middle, go with the 4-inch. It's still a manageable hose. It replaces all my hose. It gives us plenty of water that we need on fires. So for 2,400 feet of hose, you're looking at about $20,000. And the rest of it's, the extrication equipment, refrigerator, rescue jacks. That's all stuff that we carry on the trucks to assist on some of the calls we run. Extrication equipment, for example, is a battery operated, works off of a DeWalt battery. The good thing about that is, for example, if we have a car wreck off in a ditch or off the railway, we can grab that tool. It's a self-contained tool. We go to that car, we don't have to carry the pump and the hoses and all that stuff with us to get that vehicle. So it does make it a lot more efficient for us on stuff like that. Again, rescue jacks, again, with the car wrecks, it helps stabilize vehicles. I think the rest of it's kind of straightforward, refrigerator, repairs of the valves in the trucks.
Well, I think if we go down your list, I don't think anybody else is getting anything.
Well,
Just look at
Jamie told me to ask, so I asked.
I think you feel everybody's, Marty, we're sorry, we can't help you.
We're all firemen now.
Yeah.
Fire stuff, I will tell you, is very expensive to purchase.
So, okay, so looking this over, and all of it's expensive, is what it looks like. Of all the items, on your list, what's your most important item altogether?
Oh,
Is it the oxygen
You know, I'd say probably,
Deal, or is it the ladder truck or a rescue unit? I mean, what's the most important, if you had to pick one, what would that be?
if I had to pick one right now, I'd say probably the rescue unit or the Cascade unit. The Cascade unit's been repaired, but the guy told me it's a 1995 model. He said parts are becoming unavailable. You might get a year, maybe 2 years out of it, and you're gonna have to do something with it.
Is any of this, can we get grants for any of this by any chance?
Yeah, well, I mean, we can look at SD grants for some of this stuff. I just haven't gotten that far with this stuff yet as far as grants. There are AFG grants, there's REAP grants, I mean, all sorts of stuff.
I think that all the grants that we could look at, we definitely ought to start looking at it, especially, you know, on the compressor, I mean, refilling that, I mean, I think that there would be a good, I would think there'd be a grant out there for that, just because of the need that's out there for, you know, for the firemen.
We can definitely look into that, yeah.
So I'd like to look into that, and so.
How many people you got that stay full-time over there, stay 24 hours?
So right now I've got 2 guys on each shift. We're getting ready to hire to put 3 guys on each shift. So total full-time personnel would be 11 of us with myself and my captain.
And with 11 guys, you can run 3 guys,
3 guys on each shift.
so Monday through Sunday or Sunday through Saturday, we have 3 guys, 24 hours.
Unless one of them takes off or something, it should be 3 guys. After
After we hire one more.
So they're shift workers.
Yeah, they're 24/7.
Okay.
Chief?
A lot of paperwork, so. As we went through our request, I listed them out in our priorities. The first thing on my list is a vehicle. I think we're all in the same boat. I think fire, police. Right now, we've got 17 vehicles. Some of those are pool cars. We have 3 cars that are over 100,000 miles. One of them pushing 175,000 miles at this point. We're getting into we're going to have a situation where if one of those cars go down, we're going to run into a situation where we're not going to have enough vehicles for the officers. Right now, I have enough vehicles for officers. I have on this year I was allowed to try to hire 3 individuals. I hired 1. We still have 2 vacancies. If we fill those vacancies, now the amount of vehicles that we have in our pool fleet will diminish. Right now we have 3. That's really not enough. We need to have probably 4 in our pool fleet. To do that, we need to start looking at turning cars over probably around 90,000 miles so that we can take a new car, put it into service, take that 90,000 mile car and put it in the pool and then drop a pool vehicle off. So we don't get into the issue if we're having cars with 100,000 miles or more. What we're running into is maintenance issues, and we're just waiting for a transmission to fall out, a tie rod to break or something like that, especially when they're over 90,000 miles. So the first thing on my list is a new vehicle. That would allow us to move one of these vehicles off into the pool, and then we would have 4. It's not the best solution because they're high mileage, but if we can start moving vehicles into that, like he was talking about, into like the rotation, then we can move these vehicles into the pool fleet, and then the ones with the higher mileage, we can strip them and sell them on gov deals or do surplus and try to recoup some of the money off of them. I do know that I think I do have some vehicles on the lease program right now. I'm checking to see how that lease program is going to work, but this would get us into a position where if we do have a wreck, get a deer, transmission falls out, we're not in a position where we're having to double up people in one car.
And on yours, just looking at all overall, on any of your items, you don't have any estimated cost on any of them by no means. So we're not for sure exactly what we'd be spending.
Oh, no, these are the closest costs.
He's got priorities and costs.
I was reading this off of what we have here, this one, grabbing another page.
Yeah, there's a page with priorities and costs.
So the second thing is, so the department went to, they left the in-car computer system and went to an iPad system. I think the intentions for that were well, but it is not conducive to law enforcement. The iPads are small, they do not hold a charge, they don't get very good cell service, and it's hard for the officers to manipulate all the databases that they need in car, especially since it's on a very small screen. You know, a lot of time, some of the stuff they get into is web-based. Those websites don't work very well on iPads, they don't look right, and some of the other programs that they need to work or use don't have iPad programs. So we've had to go back on that, and I think we need to move back into a laptop-driven system in the vehicles. It's going to open up a lot more opportunities for us in the future. As you'll see down the list, there's something called the flock camera system. We can integrate that system in with the computers, and we can dig into that a little bit later down the road in this presentation. But those cameras will be able to use the database in those cameras to actually monitor those cameras from the in-car system. Right now, the iPads are just not functioning. They don't have keyboards with them. It can be an officer safety issue as well. When you're trying to run a tag or manipulate that iPad and put somebody's name into Otis or some of the other databases, it's hard to type on a keypad that's on the screen and not on a backlit keyboard. So that's our second priority.
Did we have those in cars at one, did we have laptops in cars at one time?
Yes, they did. They had Toughbooks, Panasonic Toughbooks in the cars, and they made the decision to remove those and go with the iPads.
Okay, because I thought they did at one time, and those worked, I guess, better than the iPads, and we're trying to go back to it now?
Absolutely.
So what did we do with the old ones?
So the Toughbooks, the hard drives have been taken out of them, and we're gonna surplus those. So they're basically just dead shells. Somebody will buy those. There's a lot of places that'll refurbish those Toughbooks and use the parts in them. So we're gonna put those on the surplus list and get rid of the ones that we still have that remain. They're not functional, but they need to be sold. I had Axon Fleet 3 on the list as number 3. After some discussions with Captain Hall and Sergeant Palmer and some of the other folks, that's a in-car camera system, not the body-worn camera system like that you see on most of my officers. Those are in-car camera systems. Right now, we have a few cars that have new camera systems, but the systems, they don't integrate with our current technology. They work in the cars, but to get the video off the in-car camera system and put it into our evidence system, it doesn't do it automatically, and it's a different version or the different, I guess it's different software you need to review those videos. Right now, we're just keeping them on a hard drive on the floor, and that is not a very good situation for an evidentiary type video. So Axon is the one who makes our body-worn cameras. They make a fleet camera now that goes in the car. It would act and integrate exactly with the evidence.com database that we have right now, that all of our body camera systems automatically upload those videos into an evidence storage container. I asked for 2 of those because they're pretty pricey, but I think after some conversations, I don't think we can just do 2. I think what we need to do is look at maybe getting a grant and try to buy them for all the vehicles, so they're all in the same program, and that way we can get that taken care of instead of having 2 in. Tip me if I'm wrong, but it's a lot harder to explain why only 2 of my car cameras working and the other 12 aren't, than to not have any at all. So I think it'd be best if we look for a grant for that and try to outfit that all at one time. Number 4, very small, but as you were talking about at the City Hall, front door mag lock on the police department. Currently, we have 2 entry doors to the police departments, the front door and the back door. The back door has a magnetic lock on it. It's a key fob that you see here. You electronically unlocks and opens the door. I can set the time and date, the key fobs who can get in, and it keeps a record. The front door is an old key in the door type style lock. I've got about 15 keys for that door. I don't know how many people have a key to that door, but about 14 of them don't work. The lock needs to be replaced. That type of lock is quite expensive, believe it or not, to replace that lock. So I'm asking just have Comtech come out and replace that locking mechanism on that door to match all the other doors in the police department, and it'll be run on key fobs. That way, 9 o'clock in the morning, it's open, 5 o'clock in the morning, at night it's closed. Officers still have access to the door without a key, and I can better maintain our key control with that system. Number 5, same again, you know, we all carry tasers, or most of us carry tasers if they choose to. The tasers we currently have are obsolete. They still work, don't get me wrong, they still work. And, but when they go down, the batteries go dead, or there's a problem with them, they're unable to actually replace those. So we need to look at getting the new version of the tasers put into the process, into the inventory. We asked for 3 Taser 7s and the extra cartridges to go with them. Right now, I have enough tasers, unlike vehicles, that I have enough to keep us going. But with the 3 that we put new into the system now, I can ask for 3 more in the next budget. And then from the following budgets, I think we can get enough in the rotation. By the time that those become obsolete, we will still be well where, you know, they'll still be usable until we can move up to the next version. Number 6, push bar, brass with lights. We have some vehicles, some patrol vehicles that don't have the push bars. If you've seen our cars, we used to call them brush guards. These aren't technically brush guards. They're a little bit more than brush guards. They're mounted to the frame. It allows us to push vehicles out of the roadway if there's a disabled vehicle or we need to open a highway. Also, a lot of these push bars are TBI certified, which basically means it's a tactical vehicle intervention. You've probably seen it where they come and tap the guy's rear end of the vehicle and it spins them out. It allows us to be able to do that without any damage to the vehicle, our vehicle, and bring a dangerous pursuit to an end rather quickly. We need a couple of those. Truck bolts. Once again, we have some of the vehicles don't have the secure storage in the back of the vehicles. Unlike the Caprices that have trunks, the Tahoes and the Fords, they're SUV style, so that it's just an open trunk, open area back there. So they need something to secure their equipment in, whether it's evidence or something during the shift, to be able to lock that. Live scan upgrade. This one's kind of important. It's kind of low on the list, but I did find out from LiveScan that with the price for this, we'll be able to upgrade the LiveScan. What that is, it's a fingerprinting system at the PD right now that I can take your fingerprints, but I can't transmit it anywhere because the software in the computer is too old. So I can't send those fingerprints to APHIS. I can't run fingerprints for SDA backgrounds. We can't do our own fingerprints at the PD for applicants for the police department. So for that price, we get a whole brand new computer, camera, everything, and it will be compliant for years to come. They told me that eventually that this system would not be compliant, and it is not now. So this would bring that up to compliance, and we could start doing fingerprints again. And it would also include a printer so that I can take the fingerprints and print them off for somebody, and they could take them with them if they need to. We talked about stop sticks. I think everybody should be aware of those. That's just a device that's got some hollow pointed spikes inside of them. Once again, it's something we can throw out in front of a vehicle, whether it's on a pursuit, or we may have a high-risk traffic stop that we need to put it under the vehicle in case the person does try to flee. It just deflates the tires and stops the pursuit a lot quicker than we have to. Any other means? The flock cameras, that was something that I included in your packet that has another packet with it. Unlike LPRs that everybody is aware of, it's a camera that just takes a picture of your license plate. Flock has come out with a camera, they term it an ALPR. It takes the picture of the back of the car, or the picture of the car. It's something that is community-driven as well. It doesn't have to be purchased by law enforcement. Matter of fact, Oklahoma City has started, I don't know how many exactly, but they're putting more in. I think they may have 80 cameras up around the city. Mustang has installed 3, Guthrie's put in 12. The database is nationwide. Believe it or not, California has over 5,000 of them. What that does is it allows us to identify vehicles that would be coming into the city, not by person, but it would just take a picture of the vehicle. It will read the tag. That person has if it's a stolen car, it would notify the officers with the laptops in their cars that, hey, there's a stolen car that just come into the city. We had an incident just this week. Somebody stole a bunch of laundry from the laundromat. The vehicle, we had a great picture of the vehicle, and we had a great picture of her, but we're trying to identify her. If we'd had the flock cameras at strategic locations when she come into the city, I could have typed in there a green Honda, and it would have pulled up all the green Hondas that came into the city, and it would have had a tag number for her Honda, and we could have, identified her through that means.
So I'd also be guessing on this behalf, there would be a monthly cost to subscribe to their, not just the $8,500, that's buying the equipment, I'm guessing. So they're quite,
Yeah, so the equipment cost to install it, it's $325 per standalone camera, which is solar powered. The reoccurring cost is the reoccurring cost is $2,500 per year per camera. So, and that gets us, the access for the database and everything.
per year per camera.
Per year per camera.
That gets pretty pricey pretty quick.
It does. Now, one of the things that we found through the research with people who have the cameras, not only are communities, HOAs purchasing the cameras to watch their neighborhoods, which also feeds into the database, but all the other cities' database feeds into the database, so we have that access as well. But what they found is a lot of cities are recouping the cost of the cameras by being able to identify people who we have failure to appear warrants in the city, or who have large outstanding balances with the city that we may not know they're here, but if we enter that information into the Flock system, which we can do as a priority tag, once they drive into the city, we know they're here, and an officer can go find them. So a lot of the cities are finding that they're actually recouping the cost of their cameras and some, just with the fact that they're able to find the people who have outstanding warrants, city municipal warrants, or outstanding balances.
But nothing flags you, does something flag the department when they drive through if they have an outstanding warrant?
Yes, sir, so.
So it flags when I drive in.
If you have a warrant, yes. If I put that information into the system that, tag number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is associated with a person who has a warrant in Hera, when they drive in and the Flock camera, the AI reads that tag, it'll pull up on all the police department's laptops that are running the database at that time. Hey, that tag has been
So
found.
you have to have it pre-programmed
Yeah,
in.
you put that stuff in there.
Yeah, we have to put it in. Yes, we
Now,
can.
the ones where somebody's a fugitive or something from somewhere, that's from a national type system or something?
That comes from NCIC, and this system does tie into
It ties
NCIC.
into
So if Oklahoma City has a car entered that is stolen in NCIC, they drive in the city, or the person sees that tag, it'll notify, we can get a notification as well.
We'll see a lot of that with I-40. We just had an example of that a couple months ago, or about a month ago with, 4 times occupied stolen vehicle identified by that exact camera.
So it'll make my city safer?
Absolutely. But what I like about the system is that we're building so many communities here that, it's something that the HOAs themselves can purchase and install at the entrance of their residence. And so when we start having these people, these transient crimes come in, these groups that are jiggling door handles, or even the developers now, you see a lot of them put these cow cameras up where it's just run on a generator.
Ideal though.
They can buy a Flock camera and put it up, it will do the same thing as gathering people coming in and out of their development. When something's stolen, we just gotta, when it was stolen, last night, okay, well, who drove in and out of your development? And we have suspects automatically. So, so it's a community-based system more than it is just total law enforcement.
So this price you have listed here is for 3 of them, plus the, 1 year of service?
That's the total cost for 1 year for 3 cameras.
And then it's 2,500 per camera reader, so, well, that's not that much. 7,500 a year for 3 cameras?
Depends on where you put them.
The good thing is Flock is very, they're very helpful. They'll send an engineer out to help us, look at traffic patterns and stuff and place those. And they're very amenable. If we put one in, we don't like where it's at, they can move them as well. You can add as many as you like. They also have some portable versions that are on a pole. So if we wanted to put one buy one that say we're having a problem in a certain neighborhood, we could put a portable one up somewhere.
So does each one of these have to have an electric meter to run them as well, or?
No,
how
sir,
does that
they're
run?
all solar powered.
They're all solar powered.
Move on down to number 11, remote area lights. That's very simple. That's just it's a battery powered light for our investigator. When we go out to a crime scene that we may or may not have enough light, he can take this battery powered trunk light out. It's a stand up floodlight that gets us more light for evidence collection. Tranquilizer pistol. I've heard it's come up before, but we are starting to see some dog situations and some other animals that are getting in the way. And unfortunately, Tim's a tough guy, but some of these dogs are just not very nice, and it's hard to get a loop around their neck. So tranquilizer pistol to take care of those types of animals. And I'm just gonna let the rest of the stuff go. You can read what they're for, a water heater and some stuff like that, so. I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have.
So, on any of these items that you have, would you look at getting as many grants as you possibly could, or have you looked at any grants on any of this or any of that?
Yes, sir. So, vehicle grants, I don't think there's a lot of vehicle grants out there. One of the things that the Axon fleet and the tasers, I think there are some grants available, maybe some through Taser that might be able to help us out. I will tell you that the Axon fleet comes with a 5-year plan that they sell you. So if you get like the Axon fleet cameras, they will take care of the maintenance. If it breaks, they'll replace it. But after 5 years, they replace all the cameras with the newest, latest, greatest stuff. I haven't seen any grants for in-car camera systems, but they do have some for body-worn cameras. So most of the stuff that we're asking for are not grant items that we can find easily. But there may be some come up from time to time. I just couldn't find any right now that are open.
Who writes your grants for you?
It'd be me.
Jerry, who writes your grants for you?
The ones I'm looking at?
Yeah, you write your own grants?
No, the people I'm buying from will write them.
Huh? They don't do that for police force, huh?
No.
And you write your own grants, what you like?
You write, we don't have a grant writer anyway.
And I'm gonna go, anything else you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Okay, I appreciate it. I'm gonna go over to Gary's real quick. Yeah, after that, you'll go with that. The Harris Senior Center, you got your paper with you, Gary, or? Okay, I got it. Gary, for the Harris Senior Center, emailed me, what they're looking for in theirs. And if you wanna share with us, Gary, on your items there.
Okay. The first item was the LVT flooring, which is just what they call luxury vinyl flooring. It's like VCT, but it's just the upgraded version of it. That's just what a lot of people are going with nowadays. You don't have to wax the material. That price on that, and this is to remove the old, do whatever work they have to do on the floor itself, put down the flooring, including the price of flooring and baseboard. The price on that was $34,320. And if we go with the VCT instead of that, it's $5,000 to $10,000 cheaper. Again, these are budget numbers. If we get any of this approved, we'll nail down the prices to, this should cover any cost on it now. There's a little stage we have up there that our band sits up for when we're doing other items. It's carpeted. The price on that was $2,185. The marquee that's down there, I know that you guys have noticed how beautiful it's looking these days. And this price here, $69.95, is just to, it's kind of a bare minimum on it. I don't know if you guys priced marquees lately, but they're not cheap for any kind of special digital. What we talked to them about was a digital display type, that's just a messaging board type, be both sides, and then clean up the marquee that's there, put new signage on it. What it's set up right now, it's for the seniors. It has the nursing home, has the senior center, and the housing on there. So this price would cover to get it back up. And I've talked to Danny a little bit, we might, if you guys want a little bit nicer look to what pictures we presented, we could do something, just anything you do on a marquee, nicer you want it, it's just more money.
And I've had several people on the marquee alone tell me that they'd be glad to donate some money. They didn't specify exact dollar, but they said they'd be glad to throw some in. So I mean, if that behalf, I mean, if we got another 3,000 or 4,000 thrown in, would get us something a little nicer.
Yeah. The next would be LED lights. 2x4, all the lights in there are 2x4 fluorescent lights, T8s. They'll prismatic lenses, just like you got up here. We go back in there with LED flat panels. They would all be dimmable. We would put them in there with dimmers on them to where we could control the lights. We have dances up there twice a month, and with that, we can turn them down some, but you wouldn't have to be, right now, you either turn the whole section off or on, and even the other events they have, we'd be able to control them that way. And the price on that, there's 61 light fixtures, $26,000. Another price was to change out all the ceiling tiles, including the kitchen.
Going back up for a minute,
Sure.
tell me for LED panels, 61 of them, it's $26,000.
Well, that's the labor, the materials. Now, we might be able to get about a $30 per fixture rebate, because we are on OG&E, and OG&E does offer it certain times of the year, so.
What kind of flat panel lights are they?
LED.
I know, but I put LEDs in my house and it didn't cost that kind of money. That's why I'm wondering.
And I'm welcome to get other bids too. This was just a budgetary numbers. If we decide to do it, we can get others, but it was priced to.
That's $426 a light. $426.
And like I said, this is just a budgetary number. It was gotten from one place within just a few days type deal. If we do it, we would get nailed down permanent numbers on it. And the other trick part of it too is if you do it with the dimmable, that's the additional cost. Yeah.
Are they bigger than these?
No, they're the same size.
That's $426 to replace one with a.
Depending on which one you buy. Maybe not the light.
I think he did say it included install.
Yeah, that was the install. Yeah, that was taking those down, putting the others in, wiring everything else.
I guess it is, huh?
Changing out all the ceiling tiles within the hose space, another $26,927. And the ones in the kitchen have to be a washable type, that's the only thing.
They're different than these.
They're
In the
sheetrock
kitchen.
bottom. They're sheetrock at the bottom
Yeah.
of that column. Or vinyl face, I'm sorry.
Wipe them down, so they can get wet. All right.
We have a bunch of ceiling tiles throughout the building. Change those out, it's $5,000. Labor and material installation. What we talked about, the next item on there is either or type deal, is going back in through there and changing out the whole ceiling. I mean, the grid's been there for a long time, ceiling tiles, so this price would be to take out all the grid, all the ceiling tiles, the diffusers, and to change them out, $53,000. So you either do that one there, or you do the ceiling tile change out, either or, it wouldn't be both of them.
So
Either way, we still do the
Number 5 or
lights.
number 7?
Right.
And if you didn't do number 7, then just 1 through 6 is approximately $77,000 is what I, approximately $78,000.
And we got more items we can come up with too. So fire and police, they really don't wanna get as many things done. You know, I've seen some of their numbers. We'll throw you some more. Any other questions?
I think that's good right now. I mean,
All right.
we're gonna have a lot of work to do right now.
Real briefly, I want to talk about some needs for City Hall. These are things we've already discussed in previous meetings, but come with a few quotes.
Bless you.
Jerry already talked about the generator. That's going to be one of the things we would look at. So there's a possibility that we might look at using that existing lift station generator and whether that'll serve our needs. If so, that's a zero cost to us other than the labor. Doors, that the previous quote, this would be the doors that open, they're accessible, automatic doors, about $7,000. I don't have that in front of you. That's sitting in Michelle's office this week, so apologize for that. What I did, if you see the Aldo Electric, there's 3 quotes there. These are just quotes to take advantage of a rebate from OG&E for police, fire, and City Hall to upgrade everything to LED. So if you look at where it says the project address, one of them is the police station, one of them is City Hall, and one of them is the fire station. It looks like they've already had some work done. City Hall's the one that didn't have the most, so $1,650 to replace existing inside lights inside of the police station. They'd already had some work done. $8,000 for City Hall, and that's all inside, outside, parking lot lamps, upgraded to LED. And then the fire station, inside and outside, LED, $3,000. So that was something we looked at. The other thing that
We don't have a per light cost on that.
No, I don't even have a number on it. It don't look like there's 20 or 30 or 50 or whatever. I don't even see those numbers on there.
But we're talking the senior center on the other lights, right?
Yeah.
And there's 61 of these kind of lights in there?
Right.
For 26,000, and this would be 8,000?
just to upgrade to LED.
And that's what he's doing, upgrade, but, and this is labor and everything,
Yes.
plus the lights.
Labor and materials are included. So we think that there's gonna be a cost savings value with upgrading to the LED plus brighter and better. The other quote you see in front of you, and you may actually have 2 of these, and I apologize, I didn't print 2-sided, so check yours. One of them has a total, one doesn't, from Contact Electronic. City Hall doesn't have a security system. We don't have any cameras, we don't have any security for our employees, we don't have a motion detector or anything like that. This one's broken down quite well, and the total is $15,000. One of the reasons that, it is really not as pricey as I thought, but one of the issues that was identified when we had our evaluation is that our fire panel is out of date, and it's so out of date that there's no longer parts available for it. So that would include an upgrade to the fire panel system that we have in our back server room. It would also include something that you heard the chief talk about, which is AMAG entry into our building, that magnetic fob entry into our exterior doors. Right now, we also have keys, and we have the same issue the police department does with, how many keys are out there, and they're not necessarily been secured over the years. So this is a much more robust system. It also provides a measure of almost like a time clock really for us as an added benefit, because we know when people come in and out of City Hall because of the reporting system that goes with it. So that's all broken down. That would be the needs that City Hall, along with generator, doors, security system, and LED lighting.
Anything else?
That's it.
Well, I think what I'd like to do is, schedule an ARPA funds meeting, one day. And we come up here, because I think just looking at it, I mean, this is taking a little over an hour, just these guys presenting what they presented already, and then for us to go through it and figure out what we're gonna do. I think it's gonna take a couple, 3 meetings, if not 4 or 5, honestly, to start lining out what we need to do. I mean, there's some things in here that hasn't been mentioned. I know that when I'm talking about, you know, what can we get for grants? What do we need to say, okay, let's not do this that they're asking for because we can put it on next year's budget? You know, I mean, you know, try to give everybody what they want, but don't take a rocket scientist to figure out what you do. Levi took it all, so I mean, he didn't even share it with anybody, so. But I think we need to sit down, I mean, but, you know, there's other things that I think we need to look at as well, as far as, you know, our parks, our sidewalks, our things like that around town, some public safety stuff. I mean, I'd like to set some funds aside to, if nothing else, to have a building designed for our public safety would be fire and police, that we put them in the same building. I mean, it don't matter where you design the building, I mean, you can build it anywhere, you know, as far as we just gotta find the vacant land and that would accommodate it. So, do we wanna put funds back that we can start something to start working forward or towards a goal of getting a new fire and police department, maybe more centrally located, the police department's centrally located, but the fire department may be more centrally located, that they go both directions, north or south or west, one of those directions. But if y'all don't have any problems, I mean, is there a day next week that anybody can, you know, that we can come up here about 11 o'clock and what's your schedule like, Chris? I think you're the hardest one. Is yours okay?
Are we talking like a special meeting?
Yeah, special meeting, yeah. Next Thursday? Next Thursday. What is next Thursday? The 9th? Okay. Thursday, I mean, what, Tuesday, we could do Tuesday, but we'd have to post it tomorrow. We could do Thursday, that one. You wanna do 11 o'clock Thursday? I mean, that's probably gonna take 3 hours, I think. Thursday the 9th, do 11 o'clock special meeting, and it would be strictly for the ARPA funds. Is that okay for you? Is that okay? Steve, is that okay for you? Okay. We'll do that. And then also, as we're on meetings, the regular scheduled 16th meeting, I want to move it till, I think it's the 16th, I want to move it to the 23rd, is what I want to do. So, you will not be here. Okay. Well, I think there's probably gonna be some things we have to do regardless, so. Anyway, we'll reschedule our 16th meeting to the 23rd. Do we have any problems with that? March.
I know I'll be gone.
You'll be gone.
I'm out of state.
Man, well, let's just do this, and let's not even, let me look at it and see if, I'm just thinking there's gonna be some, public work stuff that needs to come through, is what I'm thinking. And if that's the case, I mean, we can do it without Bob and Jamie if that's the case, but if not, let's just not schedule the 23rd, I'll call, let y'all know on the time, if that's the case, but I'll talk to, canceling the 16th, definitely. The 23rd, we're not doing anything on that day, so really the only thing we got right now is next Thursday the 9th at 11 o'clock here. As we're here, then we've got any city council members got any comments?
Yes, I do. It's just really a thank you, and this goes to Levi for getting the siren fixed down there at station number 1. It came in real handy on Sunday, because if it hadn't gone off Sunday, I would have been at the station Monday morning. So I want to thank you tremendously, because I did that myself. And I mean, when you don't hear it on Saturdays the first month, you begin to wonder, because we went for almost 2.5, 3 years without that siren ever working. And so when it got fixed, it was great, and then all of a sudden, it wasn't working again. So I want to commend you and thank you very much for getting that fixed.
No, good for me. You have anything, Tim? Chris? I'm good. Steve?
I have a complaint from a city, or, constituent. Do we enforce Jake break laws in the city of Harrah? Because we have an ordinance, but it appears that nobody cares about that ordinance.
Yeah, if we hear it, yeah, so.
Cause they're all the time out here, I don't ever see them stop, but I know the police aren't always out here, but, okay. But I was asked more than once about why we're not enforcing Jake break laws. or ordinance.
You get a flop camera with audio capabilities, so it hears it.
Make one for gunshots, so yeah.
Why not?
Just don't put it around my house.
Do you have anything? Bob, do you have anything?
Just to quote Will Rogers, the state legislature used to meet less often than they do now. But even on the less often meeting, Will Rogers often made the meaning that no one in the state of Oklahoma is safe when the legislature's in session. And I just bring that up because legislature's in session now, they're introducing lots and lots of bills, and some of them are crazy. But we do have, Oklahoma Municipal League, who has a full-time lobbyist that identifies bills that will affect us, and they go to work trying to prevent anything from happening that's gonna be detrimental to municipalities. They're watching closely the grocery sales tax to be sure that municipal sales tax is exempt from this thing, that the state's threatening to take away their tax, but, there's obviously a fear that if the state drops theirs, there's gonna begin lots of pressure on cities to drop theirs then after that, so, and that's a tremendous budget item for cities. Cities don't get any ad valorem tax budget, and so, but those kind of issues are up, we're trying to stay on top of them. We do have a lobbyist that keeps us aware of it. They send out alerts to all the city attorneys, and city officials that call your representative and talk about this bill, because it'd be harmful if they do it.
I thought, my understanding of the sales tax was just gonna take the state side away.
That's
and
what,
leave-
that's what
leave
the
the city.
proposal is now, at least the
Okay.
deal on, but
So,
it's kind of, you never know when it's gonna creep to the next level.
right.
So this is good because SB 748 already had changed. And that was for Office of Disability Concerns. I realize it's not for the city, but it is for the city. But they were gonna move us under DHS? No.
Well, there's some crazy bills to
And
introduce.
so, but it's
Most of them
already,
get shot at.
it's already had a substitution under the same number for drug abuse instead of Office of Disability Concerns. Because there was a number of us writing to them and trying to get on their calendars, they didn't like that, so. They move them through pretty quick.
Marty, Levi, Jerry, you guys have anything you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Well, I appreciate everybody coming tonight, and I know it's a long meeting, and, we'll see y'all at the next one. If you're welcome to come at 11 o'clock on Thursday to go over to ARPA. We're dismissed.